Hello friends, welcome back to Right Channels. My name is Benjamin. Today's video is on how to sell with a story, the power to persuade. If you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe to the channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. Click on the bell icon as well so that whenever a new video is uploaded on the channel, you will be informed instantly. Without much ado, let's dive into the lecture. First, let's look at the agenda for today's episode. Number one, what is storytelling? Two, why is storytelling important in sales? Three, how effective is storytelling in marketing? Four, how is storytelling used in sales? 5. What makes a good story? 6. Key elements of storytelling. And 7. The storytelling process. Now, we are going to look at this one by one, exploring the power, the story, maximizing the power of storytelling, how we can harness the power of storytelling in increasing our sales. Of course, that sales is really the most important aspect of every business, and without sales, you can't talk of any success whatsoever. So let's start discussing this one by one. What is storytelling? A story is an account of imaginary or real people and events told for the purpose of education or entertainment. Storytelling is using a story to share a message. That is simply what storytelling is about. You are using a story to share a message. You have a message you want to convey, and in business, you have a product to sell or you have a service to sell, and you want your target audience to really buy your products. And so you are using a story to enhance your chances of converting your prospects into customers, into buying customers. Now, storytelling is the process of using facts and narrative to communicate something to your audience. That is exactly what it is. Now, we are not here concerned with, the story such as Tales at Moonlight, or the story, the kind of once upon a time kind of story. That is really not what we are concerned with here. We are talking about using a story to maximize your chances, of selling your product or service to your target audience. And that is really very important. Now, why is storytelling important in sales? Using storytelling in your sales presentations can grab the attention of your audience and win their interest. In fact, that is the most important aspect of storytelling. When you use a very convincing story, a fascinating story, a story that is attention grabbing and interest retaining, of course, it enables you to really convert your audience by winning their trust, because telling a story helps you to illustrate the statistics and facts you are using to convince a prospect to make a purchase. This is really very important. And in most cases, when we use storytelling in selling, we use what is called a data-based story, a story that combines facts and statistics, to convince a prospect to make a purchase. Now, how effective is storytelling in marketing? Telling a story helps you to build a deeper and stronger connection with the audience. This is really very important because when you tell a story that is really convincing, you will discover that the audience really become very interested, and the more interested they are in the story, the more emotionally attached they are to you as the storyteller, and actually to whatever you are projecting as the central character in that story, and the real message you are conveying will be convincing enough to them. Now, storytelling gives the audience the mental picture of a character whose ultimate benefits they desire to enjoy. This is very, very important, and it is what makes your call to action more effective. Because when you are telling a story, your story is tailored, to is to suit your target audience. You want, you want your audience to desire the character, the central character you are presenting in your story, because that is the only way they can really make the kind of decision that will comply with your call to action. All right. If you are selling a product and you are giving a story about someone who used the product and, you know, derived multiple benefits, and their life was changed drastically, transformed positively. Of course, what you are saying indirectly is that, everyone who uses this product, or who buys this service, will have his or her life uh, dramatically and positively transformed, just like the character you are talking about. And that exactly works miraculously in most cases, because, human beings are naturally, wired to have what I call emotional trigger. That kind of story triggers something. It compels them to have a soft spot for the product you are talking about. All right, their desire continues to rise until it culminates in a burning desire that cannot be resisted anymore. They want to buy the product because they want to enjoy the benefits that the character in your story has enjoyed. They want that transformation of life, that positive change of fortune that the character in your story has enjoyed. They want to enjoy that kind of benefit. All right, so storytelling has a way of making people trust your brand much more easily. That is the power of storytelling. Now, how is storytelling used in sales? One, you tell a credibility story as part of your sales process. What is a credibility story? It is a story that really that it makes your brand and your person and your product and your service and your company uh, gain some credibility, because the story you are telling is about how someone has used this service or used this product and had his or her life positively transformed. All right, so it's a credibility story. It is a kind of story that gives a testimony of what your brand has achieved, how your brand has added value to people's lives, to the lives of people who have used your product or your service. So tell a credibility story as part of your sales process. Number two, tell a story that indirectly makes your prospect the main character. All right, you see, like I earlier mentioned, the main character, the central character in the story you are telling is someone who has enjoyed multiple benefits as a result of using the product you are introducing. And of course, you will find that your audience will want to be in the shoes of this main character. Indirectly, your prospect becomes the main character of this story, because your prospect naturally, psychologically, emotionally would want to enjoy those same benefits you have outlined. You know, the average human being wants to enjoy benefits. The average human being wants their life positively transformed. The average human being is looking for a solution to their problem. The average human being is looking for a real answer to their real problem. And of course, this is what your story is about. And this main character in your story is somebody who may have suffered some conflict, who may have been a victim of one misfortune or the other, but then had this misfortune turned around, and then the problem completely eliminated and replaced with a new life of peace and joy and enjoyment. And this, of course, is what the average human being is looking for. That is why they are watching your video. That is why they are listening to your story. That is why they are reading your blog post. That is why they are reading your article. That is why they are searching the various search engines on the internet. They are looking for solutions to their problems. They are looking for the answers to their unanswered questions. And when they find one, of course, they will grab it with both hands. And so when you tell the appropriate type of story, it works like magic. Number 3, use a story to illustrate how your product or service will help solve your prospect's problem. That is exactly what we are talking about. Then use case studies and data-based stories. This is how to use storytelling in sales. All right. Now, what makes a good story? Let's look at it. I have come up with an acronym that I call EUROME. All right. Or EUROME if you like. EUROME. EUROME. All right. What is this acronym for? It stands for educational, universal, reasonable, organized, memorable, and engaging. These are the qualities of a good story. Number 1, a story that is good should be educational. It should educate. A good story provides relevant information that adds to the prospect's knowledge. Of course, your story makes no sense if it doesn't provide some very important information to the audience. All right, so that is number 1. Your story should teach, your story should inform, your story should educate. Number 2, your story should be universal. A good story shares ideas that the audience can relate with. A good story taps into the emotions and the experiences that most people undergo. When you tell a story that will actually, connect with the audience, that, will appeal to their various senses, to their emotions, to their feelings, that will trigger their feelings. All right. And this is universal because all human beings are constituted in the same manner. And a story that touches one touches all in most cases. There are, of course, some peculiarities, but then a good story is a good story because it has some universal, some element of universality. All right, that is a good story. Now, number 3, a good story should be reasonable because, the average human being succumbs to reason. If you provide a good reason, every human being will buy into it. If something is unreasonable, people will reject it right away. So your story should be reasonable. It should provide reasons. For example, your story should provide reasons why that story should be listened to, or it should be read or watched in the first place. There must be a reason. It should be the kind of story that will provide some good reasons. All right. So a good story appeals to the reader's sense of reason. The character's actions must be based on reasons that the audience can relate with, because reasons can convince a giant. The people you can never conquer if you are involved in a conflict. If you come up with a powerful reason, you convince them and win them to your side. So reasons are very powerful, and of course a good story should have good reasons in it. Then a good story should be organized. It should use a well organized body of facts to convey a central message that is clear and convincing. Of course, if you are conversant with the writing skills, you will understand that a good narrative essay is always structured in a particular manner. It should have a beginning, it should have a middle, it should have an ending, and there are certain elements of a good story that should be in place. It should be well organized. A good story should have setting. It should have setting. Where did this take place? When did this take place? Where and when form the setting. Then a good story should have character. It should have character, because it is all about the experience of a human being. Of course, that is the aspect that will easily connect with your audience, because whatever one human being is experiencing, it touches, it has the potential to trigger some feeling in another human being. All right. So, and that is what storytelling is all about. So it should be organized in such a way that it conveys a central message that is clear and convincing, and it should actually have a beginning, and it should answer some questions like where, when, who, why, how, what, and all this, should be organized in a way that will really make sense. Then a good story should be memorable. A good story uses powerful images that leave a lasting impression in the mind of the audience. A good story will make use of very powerful images to create mental pictures in the reader. So, and finally, a good story should be engaging. It should keep the audience engaged and interested. And of course, it should also have some element of suspense, because every good story is propelled by conflict. If there is no conflict, then of course the story is not a story per se. Because a story is all about the conflicts that confronts the central character, and then how it is going to be resolved. Now, what will engage the attention and the interest of your audience is what actually is happening to this main character. What kind of problem is he or she passing through? And then this conflict, the more serious it is, the more engaging, the more suspenseful it is, the more it will create a sense of suspense in your audience, and they would want to know what is going to happen at last. That actually is what is going to engage them and retain their interest till the end, and of course be able to comply with your eventual call to action. Now, let's look at key elements of storytelling. We have hinted at some of them, but the first one here is characters. Every good every story features at least one character, whom it uses to share some human experience. Your story should share some human experience, otherwise human beings won't be interested in it. It is the experience of this character that will appeal directly to the emotions of your audience. If your audience can put themselves in your character's shoes, they will be more likely to follow through with your call to action. Now, the second one is conflict. I earlier mentioned the conflict. The conflict is the problem facing the character and how he or she overcomes it. So conflict in your story creates suspense, invokes emotions, and connects the audience through relatable experiences. Don't forget that human life is characterized by conflict, and every member of your audience has one conflict or the other that they really want to resolve, and it will be something that will actually give you a boost if your audience have a similar problem that you are relating in the life and experience of the character in your story. You know, the conflict is the heart of your story as well as your sales. Every human being that has a problem suffers a pain and therefore needs a solution to alleviate the pain. So your story should really tap into the specific customer pain. The pain they are passing through is really what this story should be about. And the story should revolve around a character who is essentially a victim of this pain. And then the focus of the story will be the eventual resolution, the eventual solution found for this problem. All right. Then the third one is resolution. All right. The resolution is how the character's predicament or problem is eventually resolved. Like I said, everyone who has a problem is looking for a solution to it. Your story's resolution should bring the story to a close, express an appropriate idea about life, and leave your audience with a call to action. This is a very powerful story. These are the key elements that you must incorporate in a story if you really want to use it as an effective tool for marketing. Of course, when storytelling is incorporated into your marketing campaign, you need to incorporate this element and ensure that you maximize them. Now, let's look at the storytelling process. Of course, the first thing is to know your audience. Before you come up with a story, you need to really do a research and find out who your audience are. What kind of problems do they have? Now, how do you find out all this? You actually have to do a keyword research, and you can easily conduct this on the internet. You will find out what people are searching for, the kind of solutions, those things, those keywords that form part of their internet searching, what they are searching on the internet will give you a clue or clues as to what their problems are. These are the things that they are interested in. These are the things they are looking for. And so you need to know your audience. Otherwise, if you tell a story that doesn't really connect with them, that doesn't really correspond with the kind of problem that they are looking for a solution to, then certainly your story will make no impact or no meaningful impact. Now, number two, define the purpose of your story. What will be the purpose of this story? What do you intend to achieve by telling this story? You need to define the purpose of your story. You don't just start telling a story. Even a story in the fictional genre has a well-defined purpose, all right? And so if you are telling a marketing story, a story that sells, a story that will help you to sell, of course you are telling to sell, and this is your purpose. What do you want to achieve? What kind of action are you expecting your audience to take after listening to your story? This will tell volumes concerning the type of story you are going to invent. Number 3, decide the kind of story to tell. This is based on the purpose of your story, which is in turn based on the kind of problems your audience have and the kind of solution they are looking for. Number 4, establish your call to action, because this your storytelling process is incorporated into your selling or marketing process. All right, so and whenever you are selling, the most important aspect of your sales copy is your call to action. So you need to establish your call to action. What do you want the audience to do? What specific action do you want them to take? Which this story will help you to compel them to do. So you need to figure this out. Number 5, choose your story medium. You need to choose the medium. For instance, the first one, are you going to write the story? You have a written story. Or are you going to, when you talk of a written story, the story can be part of your blog post or your website article, or it can be in a book, a written story. You need to decide the medium, all right, or the format if you like. Then if you want your audience to listen to your story, you want a powerful narrative voice to be used in really telling the story. Of course, you need a spoken story, and in this case you might be looking at an audiobook or a podcast or an audio lecture, or a jingle. All right, you could also want, apart from this spoken story, of course, let's differentiate the spoken story from the audio, which has to do with, digitizing the story in form of podcast or in form of an audio book or an audio lecture or a kind of jingle. Now, a spoken story uh, could be the one you tell to your audience, probably when you organize a webinar, all right, and you are speaking, you are making a kind of public speech, you are speaking directly to your audience. Then you can come up with a spoken story, and after you have told your story, your audience are listening to you live, and then your story will end with a call to action. All right, so that is a spoken story. An audio story can be in form of a podcast, or it can be aired on radio, it can be online, it can be live stream, and so on and so forth. It can also be in form of an audio, a kind of advertisement that is in audio form. Then the next one is a digital story. Of course, a digital story is a story that is packaged as a digital in digital form. It might interest you to know that anything you can read or watch on internet is in digital form. Of course, we can also classify a digital story as a video story, a story that is packaged in as part of a video clip. Now, all these are digital story. A digital story could even be audio, it could be audiovisual, all right, but what makes it digital is that it is in electronic form, and instead of reading it in the print media, you are watching it or reading it online, or something you can download on your laptop or mobile phone or any other electronic device. Then the next stage in the storytelling process is to write your story. This is really very important. Write your story down and make sure you have it properly. Just like someone intending to deliver a speech, whether you are going to speak it in form of a spoken story or you are going to write it, it's always important that you put it down so that you will be able to organize it and structure it in the way you want it to be told. Then finally, number 7, share your story. When your story is completed, you need to share your story. Your story cannot get to your audience unless you really share your story. The good news is that today we have different channels, the social media channels, different internet channels, different ways of sharing your story. And in fact, once your story is completed, you can share it on YouTube, you can share your story on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter, on various social media channels. You can share your story on various Google uh, uh, search engines, or even in form of Google ads or in form of Facebook ads. You can share your story in different ways on different platforms, all right, in order to really convince a lot of people to buy your product or your service. So that is really the storytelling process, and this is where we're going to draw the curtain in today's video. We have been talking about how to sell with a story, telling a story to sell, all right? So, and we have looked at the power to persuade. There is no greater medium, no more, there is no greater way of, no there is no more effective way of really persuading people than telling a good story. A good story will sell your product. A good story will sell your service. A good story will sell your idea. A good story will convince the people, will persuade them, compel them to accept your idea, to really, really see eye to eye with you. That is how powerful a story is. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you have actually enjoyed the video, do like the video by clicking on the like button. Click on the share button as well, and make sure you share the video with your friends and relations. If you have not subscribed to this channel, time has really come for you to really smash the subscribe button and subscribe to this channel, because this channel provides value. This channel shares ideas that will help you to really have a breakthrough in your online marketing campaigns. And even when it comes to language learning, we use language as a powerful tool for communicating ideas on this channel. And of course, this is the channel to be really, really part of. And I want also to know that when you subscribe to this channel, you are achieving a win-win situation, in the sense that, number one, you are not going to pay anything for subscribing. It's absolutely free. And in addition to that, of course, you will have free access to all the videos that we upload on this channel. And every week I upload videos that teach language learning, and also teach content writing, content marketing, digital marketing, copywriting, all those ideas that will help you to share your knowledge and earn through it on the internet, which is really the 21st century trend. All right, so you need this kind of video, and if you really do, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. I want to say a very big thank you to all of you, and I want to emphasize that if you have any concerns, any comments, any commendations, any suggestions that you have, please do leave them in the comments section below. You will find links to other related videos in the description box, and of course you will love a whole lot of related videos that will help you to really add value to your life and add value to your business as well. I want to say thank you once again for being part of today's episode. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Goodbye for now and remain blessed.